Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be discussing the novella titled Men in the Sun and Other Palestinian Stories. Our focus will be on Men in the Sun, written by Ghassan Kanafani. It's a Palestinian story and the novella was set in Iraq and in Kuwait in 1958. It was published in Arabic as Rija Fil Sham in 1963, and in 1978 it was published in English language. And the novella chronicle the experiences of displaced Palestinians who traveled to Iraq, and from Iraq they want to seek for greener pasture in Kuwait. So the three Palestinians of different generations seeking work arranged with a clerk in Basra in Iraq to be smuggled to Kuwait by a driver. So the men are treated roughly and are humiliated by the process because they feel the Iraqi charge was so high and these three men were not able to afford it. So they have to resort to another driver. So they decide instead to arrange for a travel with a lorry driver. The lorry driver is a Palestinian man who was surgically castrated in the 1948 war. So the men are forced to ride in the back of the truck across the desert on their way to Kuwait. At several checkpoints, the men hide in a large empty water tank in the sniffing midday heat as the driver arranged paperwork to get through. So it was an unpleasant experience. Despite the heat of the sun, these three men were inside the empty water tank. And the empty water tank is airtight. So anytime they get to a checkpoint, the driver has to hurry to bring out his paper, arrange it, and get a pass to move on the way from Iraq to Kuwait. So at several checkpoints, the men hide in this very large empty tank. And the heat was so much. So at the last checkpoint, within easy driving distance of the traveler's ultimate goal of reaching Kuwait, the driver is headed up by checkpoint bureaucrats and officers who tease him over a rumor of the driver having a sexual intercourse with a lady. As a result of that, which it was not true because the driver has already been castrated. Note that. So the rumor was just false. But the driver was held and detained for several hours. And note that these three men were in the empty tank. And the empty tank was airtight. So the driver was hoping that he would be released as quick as possible so that he will go drive a distance, open the empty tank so that there will be ventilation, so that the three men can be able to breathe. But unfortunately, it was very terrible. And the driver, which is called Abu Kazuran, was detained for a very long time. And when Abu Kazuran reached, when he was finally released, he drove past the checkpoint and then he tried to open the tank again for the people to get fresh air. And the unthinkable happened. The three men have suffocated to death. All the three men died, and Abu Kazuran, the driver, was so displeased and even was mourning the death of the men. And it was so trouble and feel of guilt for the death of the three young men. One of them is old, who were seeking for greener pasture in Kuwait. So at that time, when I read the story, I was somehow not pleased with the ending of the story. And why? I was disturbed that how can Ghassan Kanafani write a story in this way and end it in a way that the men were just cut off, their life were wasted. But going by the recent happenings in Palestine, the conflict between Israel and the Hamas have made me understand the historical background of the story more. That several Palestinians can just die as a result of the action of others, the action of Hamas. So we have those who died in this novel. We have Abu Qais, who was a little bit older, and then he died. We have Assad, and we have Marwan. These are the three men that died in the novel. And it was so sad that at the end of the novel, it is purely tragic. Even the driver, Abu Kazona, was not so happy with his life after the death of the people. And know what he did? He dumped the dead bodies and then he finds his way. Because if he is caught with the dead bodies, he will be questioned and probably arrested. And he may even be charged for an attempt to smuggle people to Kuwait illegally. Because the three men do not have any visa or even international passport. They do not have. Abu Qais, Assad, and Marwa, they do not have international passport. And they were displaced from their home country, Palestine. So in Iraq, they couldn't find any suitable job that can fend for them and their families. People like Abu Qais is married, and they have to look somewhere to make ends meet, to be able to provide for their families. And you could see the money that will happen, and just imagine how the wives and children of these men, Marwa, Abu Qais, and the Assad, we receive the message of the death of their loved one. So it was purely a tragic hero, and in our next video we are going to be discussing the characters. We're going to be discussing the characters in detail. We are going to be discussing the character and the characterization of Abu Qais, Assad, and Marwa. What are their differences? What are their similar ambition? One of their similar ambition that all of them were aspiring to get work in Kuwait, to get to Kuwait and find a good job to be able to fend for their families. But they are of different generations. While Abu Qais is older, there are some of them that are younger. And what are the aspirations of the young ones? We are going to be discussing all those ones in our characters and characterization. We will soon be analyzing that one in the subsequent video. Please subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so that when the video on character analysis and characterization is uploaded, you will get notification, and then you can continue your study on Men in the Sun and other Palestinian stories by Ghassan Kanafani. So have a good day. All right.